Hello,
Welcome to
every.
immigrationquestion.com, your go-to resource for U.S. immigration insights. We provide clear immigration news and information. Our platform provides a network of licensed attorneys who can answer your questions and guide you through the process. From visas to green cards, asylums to citizenships, immigrationquestion.com helps you to network with immigration attorneys so that you can move forward with confidence. Sign up today or download the app. Free registration, limited time offer. Stay tuned. We go live in 30 seconds.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar hosted by immigrationquested.com, a networking platform where immigrants, families, advocates, and licensed immigration attorneys come together to learn more about U.S. immigration policies and procedures. My name is Pavitra Muthuraman, and I will be your host for today's discussion, a guide to U.S. naturalization from lawful permanent resident to U.S. citizen. Becoming a US citizen marks the final stage of immigration journey for many immigrants. Before submitting an application, however, applicants must satisfy several legal requirements related to residence, physical presence, and moral character, while ensuring they have the documentation to support their case. To help us explore today's topic, we are honored to be joined by Attorney Naresh Gehi, a prominent immigration attorney, a member of American Immigration Lawyers Association, and one of the visionary founders of immigrationquestion.com. Attorney Gehi has played a key role in expanding access to reliable immigration information while helping develop innovative tools that support immigration attorneys with client management and case management. Attorney Gehi, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you
We are
so much.
delighted to have you with us.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure being with you. And firstly, thank you, Pavitra, for this warm introduction. So, what are we going to talk about today is US citizenship. So, number one is let's go slow so that people can understand the process of citizenship, the requirements of becoming citizen, and the benefits of becoming an American citizen. Firstly, I want to say that the citizenship test has become far more difficult than what it was in the past. So, in the past, this is before October 20th, 2025, immigration used to ask you 10 questions. You had to pass 6 out of 10. And after that, you took a simple written exam and a reading exam. And the great news was that you're done. So, if you have applied before October 20th, 2025, the good news is that you'll be subjected to the old test, which means 10 questions, pass 6, simple writing test, reading exam, you're good to go. But any time when you're applying after October 20th, 2025, you will be taking the new test. Now, the new test means you have to read 128 questions instead of 100 questions. And you have to pass 12 out of 20. And the requirements have become a little difficult. So, in a sense, they're going to look at your social media profile, they're going to look at your background information, or they may even come and check do a home study, and they will ask you a lot more. And therefore, it's a lot more intensive than what was in the past. So, if you want to become a citizen, the most common question I get asked, I'm highly educated. Is it still good for me to have a lawyer? My answer is that it never hurts if you have a lawyer, which means it's a good thing for you to have an attorney by your side. And the good news is that the lawyer can represent you by sitting with you inside the room on the chair right next to you. And then After that, he has the right to answer the officer about all the legal requirements of the law. He cannot help you with the facts. He cannot help you, when the officer is asking you questions about the citizenship exam, that's your duty. But if it says a legal question about the application, the lawyer can jump in and help you out. So, that, to make a long story short, the exam has become a bit difficult. You have to pass 12 out of 20, and the officer can communicate with you in English for a longer time. And then after that, he has to look at your good moral character. And then after you do everything, then if you pass, then you're good to go. So this is step one, Pavitra, of what happens in citizenship.
Great, great, sir. So before we begin, immigrationquestion.com is a public educational and networking platform. Information shared today is for general information purposes only and does not constitute individualized legal advice. If you're joining us on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, or any other platform, you're welcome. Please subscribe and share the session with anyone who may benefit from learning more about the US naturalization process. So I guess let's dive right in, sir. Attorney Gehi, to begin with, who's eligible to apply for US naturalization?
Okay, so in a sense, if you are married to an American citizen and if you got a green card, based upon your marriage to an American citizen, then you can apply after 3 years. In most other cases, if you're a married spouse and if your spouse was a citizen, then still it's 3 years. But in all other cases, after 5 years, you can apply. Of course, you can apply 3 months earlier, but then you can apply for citizenship. And you have to make sure that there are also residency requirements. You have to show that you've been living in the US for half the time of the 5 years. Plus, at the same time, you have not taken extended trips outside the United States. So everything is reviewed by the government. And the issue is, the second issue is, you have to show that you are a person of good moral character. But Pavitra, what happens sometimes, people get involved with crimes, they get involved with trouble, but that is not something that can stop you from becoming a citizen, depending on the nature of the crime. So, suppose if it's a very minor trivial offense, there's an exception to that. But if it is a crime involving good moral character, then after that, you have to wait for 5 years to show 5 years of good moral character. But if it is an aggravated felony, which is a very serious crime, I tell people don't apply, because when you go over there, you can be picked up, you can be detained, and you can be deported.
Got
So
it, sir.
this is what happens exactly. These are the nuts and bolts of what how a citizenship application works.
Great to hear that. So moving on, what are the naturalization eligibility requirements applicants should evaluate before submitting their applications?
Good thing to do for them is to meet with a seasoned attorney and let him do the evaluation for you, because sometimes, example, you might have not paid your taxes. So that's a criteria. Second thing is, you may have taken some benefits. Thirdly, you got a green card, you got a divorce from that person that you married. Because immigration can take the stand that it was a fraudulent marriage. Be very careful about that. So you have to make sure that anytime you see any adverse factor in your case, I would strongly recommend you to consult an attorney. Like, for example, in our case, we have clients who do citizenships from all over the United States. They get in touch with us, we review the application, and then only when we're confident, then we file. So you have to be careful when you file. But Pavitra, there are many other things about citizenship. And as the session develops, we'll be happy to talk. But in the meanwhile, if anyone has any question, they can kind of, this is a live show. You can ask me. I'll be happy to answer questions. But I cannot thank, Immigration Question enough, being the founder of it, especially to people. A lot of people are benefiting They're downloading the app and they're asking questions. And the great news is that the app is free, but of course, the lawyer has the right to waive the fee or charge you a fee. That's up to the lawyer. And also with the app, people are getting a lot of benefits, or they're able to see videos, breaking news videos. I think that's great information, Pavitra. And also, besides that, they're getting news 3 times a day. So, this one simple app can help you to know a lot about what's going on in the world of immigration. And plus, you can find lawyers who speak your language. If you have someone who's having a problem speaking in a particular language, and you can find a lawyer from any state. So download the app if you have not downloaded. You can visit the immigrationquestion.com website, and you can also post your question there. And the good thing about this site is that only licensed immigration attorneys are allowed to join the network. And if someone is not licensed, they're not allowed to join the network. So very high standards are maintained to make sure that the public is happy on the whole with the lawyer. But of course, you're dealing with the lawyers directly between you and the attorney. So good job, and I've seen that a lot of lawyers also love the show, and it's been really a game changer for everybody out there. So, Pavitra, you have any other questions here?
Yes, sir. So moving on, how does the physical presence requirement differ from continuous residence?
Physical presence means whether you've been physically present. Out of the 5 years, you have to be physically present for 2.5 years. Continuous presence means there should not be a break in the continuity of your living here, which means you're constantly living abroad, you're coming back, and if you've been outside for more than 6 months, that breaks the continuity, and that means you do not have the intention to live over here. That means that you're trying to abandon your residence. So these are serious factors. If you're traveling too much outside the country, you have to be careful. That's what it really means. But Pavitra, there are many other good things about citizenship, and not many people ask about the exceptions, which we'll talk about.
So one of the important questions, what supporting documents should applicants gather before submitting their naturalization application?
They need to basically make sure that they have the passport, they have the green card, they have the tax returns, and it all varies, and based upon the circumstances of every person. And have to show that you don't have a criminal record, you're an asset to the society, your contributions, etc., etc. That's why a good lawyer will charge you little money, but get it done professionally and make sure that you pass your citizenship at the first attempt. And there's more news to that. I got a question from someone who said, "What happened, Mr. Gehi, if I failed the first citizenship exam?" You can always, you have one more chance. So you have two bites of the apple. So if you don't pass it once, you get one more chance, and within two attempts, you should be able to fight, you should be able to win, and you have to do your best. Therefore, starting is very important. Now, let's take this a little further, Pavitra. I get calls from people who say, "Mr. Gay, I'm not fluent in English." You don't have to be 100% in English. If you have a working knowledge of English, and if you're good in basic English, which means you can read, write, and speak, that's all the law requires you to do. And for example, I have clients who are Uber drivers, who are wonderful people. Then I have clients who are homemakers, means basically who don't do anything, their spouses. And then we have clients who are babysitters. They have a limited command of English. So even if you have a limited command, the lawyer should sit with you, he should prepare you. And I've had many people who never thought that they would become citizens. They worked hard, and today they are American citizens. So the lawyer plays a very important role in actually these sessions. Yes.
Good to know that, sir. So when should someone consider consulting an immigration attorney before applying for naturalization?
So no sooner a time comes up, like uh, after 2 years and 8 months or 9 months, start talking to a lawyer. Let him do the application. Let him do the submission for you after he checks the timelines based upon your marriage. Then, if you're under the 5 year category, after 4 years, 4.5 years, 4 years, 8 months, 9 months, start talking to a lawyer Let him look up with your eligibility and then he should file. And also, there's another benefit. If your parents become citizens and you have children under 18, then they're also entitled to automatic citizenship. So there are many different aspects that can help you to become a citizen. There are many other benefits to becoming a US citizen. You can vote in this country. You can start, you can fight elections, except for you don't become the president. But you can do a whole lot of different things if you become a citizen in this country.
So, for lawful permanent residents preparing to take the final step towards US citizenship, what practical advice would you offer to help them during the naturalization process?
Make sure that have a lawyer review your paperwork. Make sure that you're a person of good moral character. You paid your taxes, and you know the exam very well, and you've not lied to get an immigration benefit. Now, this is very important here. So sometimes people lie to get an immigration benefit. That is a recipe for disaster. And I've seen people, Pavitra, who filed because they lied, and immigration found out that that was a serious issue. They've also wound up in deportation proceedings. So be very careful when you are applying for US citizenship. It may look easy, but it is not as easy as people think it at times. And things have changed a lot. In the past, you could get away with a lot of things, but nowadays, they look at everything in a microscope. That's the difference. So,
Got it.
citizenship
So,
is
thank
something, it's a big benefit in the country, but at the same time, you have to make sure that you're meeting the requirements, you're good in English, and you have all your documents in order, go through everything, and that's good. Now, there's one other important area. How about people who do not speak English? What can we do about them? And those are known as exceptions to take the exam. So, one of them is commonly referred to as the 55-15 exam, which means if you work 55 years and if you have been a permanent resident for more than 15 years, the good thing is that you just have to pass, you just have to take the civics exam in your native language. So they'll ask you 20 questions. And if you speak Spanish, for example, so the test will be conducted in Spanish, and you have to pass those 12 questions in Spanish. That's all you need to do. So if you're 50 years old, and if you have been a green card holder for 20 years, so the one is 55-15, second is 50-20, under which again 20 questions, pass 12, you become a citizen. That's why it's always good to a good lawyer. If you're 65 years old, you only have to read a few questions from there, and then you can still pass the exam. And the last one is, if you're completely incapable of taking the exam because of your mental state is completely gone, which means you're suffering from a serious mental disability, and if the doctor certifies you as someone who's disabled, the good news is you don't even have to take the exam. So there are many good things about citizenship, and we handle citizenship cases from all over the United States and the world. And if there are times wherein we've seen people, for example, Pavitra, there are people who have criminal records. So, like a while ago, someone called me, told me, Mr. Gehi, I'm scared. I said, why? He said, I have a criminal record. Having a criminal record is not an absolute bar to becoming a citizen. So it all depends upon the type of crime, how old the crime is, the category of the crime, whether it's a minor offense, whether it's a serious offense. All those factors are taken into consideration. Then after that, only you can take it further from there. So this is what people have to know about US citizenship.
Thank you for those insights, Attorney Gehi. For everyone watching, today's conversation has focused on the legal requirements that applicants should consider before applying for US citizenship. Careful preparations, complete documentation, and a clear understanding of the naturalization process can help applicants present a stronger application. If this is your first time joining us, you're welcome.
And
ImmigrationQuestion.com is a networking platform
I would
where
tell
users
people,
can ask immigration.
I would like to tell people that Pavitra, you've done a fabulous job. Everyone should be sharing this app. So it's helping people. The app is free. You cannot go wrong. Keep yourself updated with breaking news. And we are here to help immigrants because someone may be in need, and just downloading and sharing it can help us a lot to keep the program moving. And besides that, this is Attorney Gehi. The instant program, the information is general in nature and it does not apply to any specific facts or circumstances of your personal case unless an attorney client relationship is entered between the parties. Any information given on this program from immigrationquestion.com is general in nature. Immigration Question is not a law firm. It is a portal which allows lawyers to come in and talk to you to decide exactly whether you have more legal questions and work with attorneys. So, for any further information for about me, you can visit me at gehilaw.com, www.gehilaw.com, and my number is 718-263-5999. But the best way is, if there's any further questions, you may visit immigrationquestion.com. You can pick any lawyer of your choice, and if you're in any state, lawyers will be happy to help you. So we'll be back again with some more news from the world of law. And keep tuned, share it with your friends, save the date because regularly there are programs and you learn a lot. And above all, if you want a lawyer to speak on a topic of your interest, feel free to get in touch with immigrationquestion.com. Thank you so much, folks. Such a pleasure being here. And Pavitra, you did a great job. And you'll have some more sessions with Pavitra and the rest of the team about topics of interest to all of you. So stay tuned with some more news from the world of law with immigrationquestion.com. Thank you, Pavitra. Let's leave. We'll be
Thank
back
you.
again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gehi. Thank you.